Hi everyone, I'm Ken from CryptoTradingKS and the inventor of the CTKS method and BORSOG trading. From my 30 plus years in financial markets, I explain the smart money mindset to assist you to be more of a financial blessing to yourself and those you love, gaining real wealth and positive excellence in the process. If you would like daily updates on price movements in the crypto and stock markets, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, please subscribe to YouTube. I've left helpful links in the description of this video, such as links to the CryptoTradingKS Masterclass and the tax software I use. And you can also apply for a partial CTKS Masterclass scholarship. The links are in the description. Let's run the numbers. Bitcoin is currently up 2.83% to 19,553. Ethereum is up 1.23% to 1341. As crypto technical analysts, we look at the markets with a scientific lens. The first thing we do is to mark up our charts with the CTKS method. This is a method of technical analysis that I invented to actually understand the exponential price action movements in the crypto market. Then we look beyond the charts of the crypto market to understand the charts impacting crypto's price. Then we pop back inside the crypto market, understanding the market's focus and opportunities resetting daily. And we certainly saw that in the past trading session. And before we buy or sell, we must master emotional control. Mastery of emotional control is actually mastery of fear. Fear will make you buy and sell at the wrong times, and fear has a very uncanny habit of creating the very thing you fear. So if you fear losses, acting on fear will typically create losses. It's a really ugly thing about fear. We know Rule 225, Bitcoin cannot escape the stock market's gravity. And we saw in the past trading session, the major indices all bounced just a little bit. And that's a really good thing, because if we went too much lower, we could see a very ugly sell-off. We could still see a sell-off, just bear this in mind. The ACWI saw a retracement, and this is really good, very positive for global markets. What actually led the markets up was a decrease in the DXY. The dollar was surging up, but it broke intermediate support and came down. You can see that it actually passed through a strong level of support, and it's just now consolidating at the 112.711 mark. Oh, 711. Yesterday, we saw the federal funds rate prediction in April 2023 coming down. I believe this was what drove the markets up. And of course, driving the markets up means driving Bitcoin up as well. We can see the Fed balance sheet is actually still decreasing, and inflation rates are on their way down. This is taking some pressure off the Fed, with its increase of 75 basis points being a 57% probability. 1 day ago, it was 62.5%, and 1 week ago, it was 70%. So it looks more and more likely that a 50 basis point increase in the federal funds rate will occur in the next FOMC meeting. And that's in about 34 days. We can see that the VIX initially spiked, then decreased. This drove the markets up, bond prices up, bond yields down, the dollar came crashing down, gold came crashing up. Oil increased, and we saw a bit of a leg up in junk bonds, all positive stuff. Another very good thing that we saw in the past trading session was that these, on the S&P 500, these very short support levels, because there's not a lot of support underneath the S&P 500 at the moment, that were playing around 3648, 3655 and 3659 were very well defended, and we saw a rally up. We may see a bit of a filling of the gap here. Let's look at the futures. Just bear in mind, this current price when the S&P 500 closed was 37.19. It's now slightly up at 37.26, but the concept is we're seeing a bit of a retracement here. But that's not uncommon, because no price can just go straight up or straight down. Price is always moving in a wave. That's rule 4, and a very powerful rule for you to know. One thing to keep in mind, we're actually at a very strong level of support with the DXY. We would anticipate, after such a climactic sell-off in the DXY, after such a sharp leg down, and there's a lot of theories going around why this actually occurred. For example, the Bank of England. But just bear in mind, this is pretty much normal price action. When we get an overextension, we must get a correction to consolidate gains. That's just how markets work. Please let me know in the comments, do you think we'll get a ping up to the 113.763 mark? Or do you think that the DXY will continue to come down, potentially to this 110 mark? I'd be really interested in what you think. The market doesn't know you, and all we can do is control our trades and investments because the market controls the return. What we do each and every day is put our BORSOG synchronization code in. We understand, or we estimate, is the market coming down, going flat, or going up? That's the first letter there. And what percentage could price either move against us, go nowhere, or go flat, or go for us? And we get a bit of a picture painted in our own minds as to our three-dimensional decision making and how in sync with the market do we feel. Do we have the Midas touch, or do we have the opposite? We can see that there's a great amount of volatility currently in the market. We had yesterday, in yesterday's session, a big spike up that was rejected. In the past trading session, we had a big spike down and that was rejected. Everything's getting rejected. The current price of Bitcoin is 19,485 and the Armageddon line is 18,942. We don't want to see price go below the Armageddon line because last time it did that, it went through a very nasty sell-off. We don't want to see that. We are a BORSOG community, which means buy on red, sell on green, rule 621. When we look at Bitcoin's price action, we can see that we're over a resistance level. We've done a spike up and then a retracement down. And when we look at a key resistance line, we can see that we're actually trading above that. Does it mean it's all fantastic and it's only positive prices from here on in? Not so fast. We've got to look at the global outlook, and the global outlook at the moment is quite weak. There's also a lot of geopolitical instability. In Russia and in China and in Europe, they're going through a very, very tough time. Russia is preparing to annex various parts of Ukraine as the stage votes end. Annexation is a word in international law which means the forcible acquisition of one state's territory by another state, usually following military occupation of that territory. It's generally held to be an illegal act. Annexation can be legitimized if generally recognized by other states and international bodies. And what is getting annexed in Ukraine? These various regions. But the always question is why? Russia is basically cutting Ukraine off from its sea routes. And this is very, very important to understand. The sea and transportation is a very important thing to have control over. And Russia is exerting its control over its waterways and Ukraine's as well. We can see a similar thing happening with China and Taiwan. The Taiwan Straits are a major shipping route, and if that's controlled by China, China will reap the economic benefits of that. 2 days ago, Mike Pompeo landed in Taiwan. Also, 2 days ago, Seoul in South Korea confirmed Kamala Harris's visit to the demilitarized zone between the two Koreas, North and South, this week. And what was the outcome of that? China repeats call for stability in the Korean peninsula. And what's this about? North Korea may conduct a nuclear test in coming months. And this will be North Korea's first nuclear test since 2017. If it takes place, it's likely to happen between October the 16th and November the 7th. Expect market turbulence during that particular period. And South Korea is seeking to freeze 3,313 Bitcoin allegedly linked to the Luna founder Do Kwon. And Celsius CEO Alex Mashinsky resigns amid tumultuous bankruptcy proceedings. As crypto technical analysts, we're prepared and not scared. We just understand what the world is going through, and we seek to understand when we can enter and when we can exit. It's really important to have no particular story. Look at the price action, but understand what's going on underneath the hood. Bitcoin has a smart money sell level at 19,985 and one at 2343. There's a smart money buy level at 18,950 and 18,310. The thing is that we must pay attention to the fact that this is an Armageddon line. It's contextualizing our decision-making process. We don't act on fear, but we act on probability. And you must always have a plan. Know what you're going to do with a specific trade and your entire portfolio. If price moves against you, goes nowhere, just goes flat, or goes for you. You must have 3 plans, not 1. There's a lot of data points that you need to be across as a crypto technical analyst to scientifically understand markets and how they work. And what we're actually seeing here, the shorts have been coming out of the market. Now, we're seeing a little bit of consolidation here. It wouldn't be at all surprising if we see the shorts trying to pile back into the market. The shorts are always piling out and piling back in, and the longs are always doing exactly the same thing. And when we look at the rate of change of the longs, we can see that it's starting to arc over. It may start to come down. It's a potential probability. And when we look at price action, we can see a lot of shorts have been liquidated, but the longs are starting to get liquidated as well. So just bear this in mind. Over the past 24 hours, there's been 124.93 million in liquidations across 44,943 positions. And when we look at total liquidations across the past 24 hours, we can see about 58% were long. What about the past 12 hours? 70% short. What about the past 4 hours? About 72% short. And what about the past hour? 75% long. We can see the shorts and the longs are always liquidating each other. And when we have a look on the daily basis, we can see more longs than shorts have been liquidated in the past trading session. And what about going back? More longs than shorts. More shorts than longs, but only marginally, nearly equal. And going back another day, more longs than shorts. It's a very, very interesting thing. We're seeing Bitcoin starting to get above resistance levels, starting to be supported down below as well. This is actually quite positive price action. But you also need to contextualize this. If the DXY decides to go up further, that will put negative price momentum on the markets, all of them. If the DXY continues to break down, we should see a very nice rally. We're very oversold at the moment, and we seem to be getting a bit of a technical bounce, but just keep in mind, this may be a dip that keeps on dipping, especially if we fall below the Armageddon line. And we know that there's a September and October effect, which is quite negative for both the stock market and risk on behavior. When risk off becomes the prevalent course of action, of course crypto gets hit. And if we continue to see negative pressure on yields and a falling prediction on the federal funds rate, this is all very, very positive, not just for the stock market, but also for crypto. But if we see these rates, these yields start to kick back up again, we would expect a lot of pressure on the markets, negative pressure, selling pressure. Many people actually don't trade stocks and don't trade Bitcoin. So why are we looking at this? Because we know no alt can escape Bitcoin's gravity, Rule 45, and Bitcoin cannot escape the stock market's gravity as well. So we need to look at the markets, then Bitcoin, to understand what your beloved alts could potentially do. Looking at the top alts, what we can see, Bitcoin's gravity, this blue line, is very, very powerful in predicting Ethereum's positional movements. And we can see the same with BNB, also with ADA. And we saw recently that XRP escaped Bitcoin's gravity. But what happens? It can't escape it for long because its gravity If you throw something up in the air, yes, it may go up for a little while depending on how far, what strength you have to throw it up into the air, but it will come down in alignment with gravity. That's why it's called Bitcoin's gravity. And we can see Solana just really moving in tandem with Bitcoin's gravity. We can see that Doge, just like XRP, had a bit of a spike up, but gravity is gravity. No alt can escape Bitcoin's gravity, and this is exactly why this rule exists. This is why I created this rule. It will really help you to understand the dynamics, and I share many rules inside the masterclass. And you can see DOT moving in correlation, directional correlation with Bitcoin's gravity, as is Matic at the moment. Global crypto market cap increased 1.84% to $947.22 billion in the last 24 hours, and the 24 hours greatest gainers were Helium, Synthetics, Kava, Kusama, Filecoin, and Cake. The greatest losers were Celsius, IOTA, Stepan or GMT, 1inch, Atom, and Clayton, but they weren't down terribly much. As a community, we focus on eliminating fear from our life. Fear creates all sorts of bad behaviors, bad for us, such as conflict. Conflict is never a good thing. It destroys relationships. And acting on fear basically creates the fear. The very thing you fear is brought about by acting on fear. That's why we, as a community, as a global family, we say no to fear. Instead, we embrace courage. If people are coming from a fear-based mindset, if fear is your CEO, something like kindness, decency, and integrity doesn't mean much because you're in survival mode. And it's interesting to note that to act with courage, courage kills fear. But to act with courage, we must believe that things will work out for us. I think the discussions on fear and courage are incredibly important, especially to have a happier life, but also to be more profitable. In yesterday's comments, we talked a little bit about what happens when fear is the CEO of somebody's life. I believe this is such an important topic. It needs quite a few episodes to talk about. If you have some comments or you would like to share something with our beloved global family, please do so. We're really interested in what you have to share. And I'll start reading out comments on that tomorrow. And thank you everyone for popping in your BORSOG codes. Each and every day, you'll find you'll get better and better. And the market rewards you on your practical experience, your active learning. The more seriously you take the markets, the more seriously you will make profits. That BORSOG code is a key to your risk management strategies. It's just three-dimensional thinking in process, in action. And well done, everyone. Fantastic work. Priming your mind for profitability in the crypto markets is the focus of the CTKS Creed, which is a series of positive affirmations that you say to yourself. If fear is the CEO of somebody's life, they will not think the universe is for them. They will think that everything and everyone is against them, and they have to fight against everything and everyone. This creates a scarcity mindset and also closes the mind to opportunities. As human beings, we always feel fear. Fear is part of our DNA. But when fear is the CEO of somebody's life, that CEO should be sacked. Because that CEO is a very bad decision maker. That CEO will force you to fight when you don't need to fight, when you need to just understand. Fear as a CEO will force you to buy when you should sell and sell when you should buy. Fear as a CEO will limit your every behavior. With the concept, it's designed to keep you safe. It doesn't keep you safe, it keeps you stuck. That's why, literally, the first part of the CTKS Creed, I know the universe wants me to succeed. This dethrones fear as the CEO. It evicts fear and puts courage in its place. Another way to evict fear is to show kindness, integrity, and gratitude every single day. Fear will not allow you to show those things. Fear will tell you you are stuck, there's no way out. whereas the CTKS Creed says, I know opportunities and life reset daily. And you can see it does. Fear will say you are unworthy. The CTKS Creed says, I am worthy, I go slow to go fast. Fear says you need it all now. Courage says you go slow to go fast. Fear will say you need to go all in and more. You need to gamble, you need to bet, and don't worry about knowing what's going on. Just go all in. Courage says something quite different, and courage is the foundation of the CTKS Creed. It says, I start small and scale with BORSOG. Fear, as a CEO, if it's in control of a person's life, when they have a life pullback, will say, it's all over. There's no use fighting. Everything gets worse from here. But when positive excellence is in charge of your life and courage is the CEO, it's a completely different thing. You will say, because of the CTKS Creed, life pullbacks give me the strength for the next life rally. And we know from history that's always the case. You always get stronger. When fear is the CEO of a person's life, they will get stuck in panic and blame. And it's where people lose money. But they don't just lose money, they lose relationships, they lose jobs, they lose love, they lose so many things. That's why in the CTKS Creed we say, I am dedicated and committed. I win or learn and never blame. One particularly powerful nuclear weapon in fear's arsenal is blame. Blame is the most destructive force on the planet. In fact, blame is the most toxic of all human emotions. It does nothing but destroy. So when we actually go through the CTKS Creed, we're dethroning the dictator of fear, and we're installing the best CEO you can ever have, courage. If you have family or friends who can benefit from positive excellence and what we do each and every day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, please share a video with them. We'd love to see them here. We have one of the best communities on YouTube. Please remember, crypto is volatile. Always prepare yourself for the best and worst case scenarios. Reality will likely be between them. Stay safe out there, my friends. Take care, and see you next time. Bye for now.